wind in the Florida Panhandle continues to gust to over 60 miles per hour as the eye of Hurricane Earl cruises slowly east-northeast offshore tonight. That tops this edition of Weather Center. I'm Dave Schwartz. Good to see you, my friend. In the Caribbean, all is quiet. There is a tropical wave we're watching, but let's have a look at this hurricane. This became a tropical storm right about here a couple of days ago, then headed north toward Louisiana. Hurricane warnings are in effect. They were in effect. They're now not, because this storm became a hurricane and hung a right turn, and it is now situated just to the south of Pensacola, Florida, which you can easily see the swirl on this radar image. Even though the eye is still offshore, much of the hurricane is onshore in terms of heavy rain, gusty winds, and even a possible tornado here in northern Florida. We'll get to that in just 1 minute. Near ground zero, near where this hurricane center is Bill Keneally in Panama City. Bill, it's been blowing and the rain's been coming down. What you got now?
It keeps on keeping on there, Dave. You got that right. The rain is the big story, I'd say. We were very fearful of a high storm surge. It looks like that is not going to pan out, thankfully, as the hurricane should stay just to our south. But that said, we have seen winds up around 80 to as high as possibly 85 miles per hour. That is my guesstimate, I'd say. A couple hours back was the worst of it. Looking out here now, Dave, we're still looking back to the east. You can still see we're holding the east wind. We are still putting out some pretty good gust out there. And look at the waves of rain going by. True squally type of weather. What you can see, Dave, is the wave action. You can barely see it coming in, but I think we're at the high tide now, so hopefully the worst is done with. It was phenomenal earlier today, though. The waves were breaking about 300 yards out, and they were on the order of about 10 to 12 feet. Then they would break again, and then they came crashing ashore, and they have done some damage. And unfortunately, Dave, they've had a major beach reclamation program going here that was started in the wake of Hurricane Opal. Hopefully we fared okay, but I'm sure the pounding has taken some of its toll here. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Bill, for that live report from Panama City. We're still getting some very strong surf, damaging surf. A storm surge still to move onshore east of where Bill is, around St. George Island, and then right on over toward Carabel in northeast Florida, heading into the Big Bend. Well, I'm joined now by our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons. And Steve, this is a hurricane that intensified, a little stronger perhaps than we thought it would, and a little bit further east than we thought it would. Yesterday we thought Louisiana would be having a hard time. Tonight, no problems in New Orleans.
That's right. An upper-level trough got a hold of it and continues to carry it on to the east-northeast. The good thing is it's moving along, and we don't expect it to slow down at this stage of the game, but with all that rain, as Bill just mentioned, we do not want it to slow down, because then we have a catastrophic flooding situation.
That's absolutely right, but we've already taken a hard hit, and by the looks of Doppler radar, there's more yet to come.
Yes, you can see the circulation here, and all these rain bands continue to feed in. Keep in mind, of course, the Doppler radar can't see south of that line there, so there's a lot more rain out there. You just can't see it, and as it comes into radar view, then you see the bands come in, and very strong winds and heavy rain.
And speaking of heavy rain, Apalachicola now topping the list at 6.18 inches, and there's probably more. Panama City. Now, another element, in addition to the rain coming down from the sky, these strong winds are funneling Gulf water onto the shore where the winds are onshore.
That's right. Where Bill is, the wind is more easterly, but even there it's pushing up against the coast because the water transports to the right of the wind. But over farther to the east, there's definitely going to be a very significant storm surge on the order of probably 8 feet or greater, particularly in the Big Bend area or down toward the, to the west of that.
We can see that graphically here on this map. The area shaded in red to be the largest storm surge.
Yeah, it looks like the circulation center is going to come in here, and of course that's going to bring the strong winds right up into this area. And the most vulnerable coastal area is right down in here for the storm surge. Over here, it's not as vulnerable. The same winds will produce twice the heights here as compared to here in Panama City.
And we noticed a storm surge down into Tampa Bay of several feet possible.
That's right. It's already above normal, and that's because the wind is out of the south, and it's pushing water to the right of the wind in the northern hemisphere and piling it up there about 2 feet above normal. That'll continue probably the next 12 to 24 hours as well.
In addition to that, what's going on here in Florida are thunderstorms. Could we call them supercells?
Definitely could. Some of those are definitely individualized thunderstorms and under a very, very sheared environment. This low-level flow is out of the south, very strong. The upper-level flow is out of the southwest. So it's a very strong turning of the wind with height, very similar to mid-latitude severe thunderstorm.
A tornado watch is in effect and a tornado warning in effect for Clay County and northern Alachua County. Now I've got a very important question for you. Where is the hurricane going, and what can we expect further downstream?
Okay, it's going to continue off to the northeast, east-northeast, the next 12 to 24 hours. The trick is if it goes off the coast, it does have a chance to reform if it does it quickly. Right now, the Hurricane Center's track is more up the east coast, so there would be a lot of rain up the east coast from Georgia on up into South Carolina the next 24 hours or so.
So, similar to what's happened the last couple of days, we're not really sure where this one's going to end up, but of course we've got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, right now it looks more like it'll hang off over land and produce a lot of rain rather than move offshore. But if it does, tropical storm warnings may have to be put up on the East Coast.
Dr. Steve Lyons keeping us up to date minute by minute on Hurricane Earl. Thanks so much.
Yeah.